Hello, happy Wednesday, everyone. So, thought I would do a topic, and this one is 5 factors that impact your success. So, obviously, I've had the privilege of working with some clients, and there's some that just keep at it and just keep getting better, right? And then I also have, I know quite a lot of, professional athletes, people who are successful entrepreneurs, and so on. And so, there's some characteristics that or attributes that I keep seeing that seem to be, something that keeps them going and separates them from the pack, or basically helps them achieve the goals that they're working at, right? And so, what are the attributes of these people who keep at it, keep progressing, and keep growing, and live happier, healthy lives? And I think it's important to understand this, and not to say that they're different from us or anything like that, because all these attributes that I'm going to talk about are things that you can easily control. They're within your control. If you really want to transform, then these are the factors, they'll either start to become a new norm for you, and you'll really start to embody these, and then you kind of know that you're on the right track, right? So the 5 that I've seen, so number 1 is, lack of a better description, is probably like a deep desire. And, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's some people who simply just want success more than others, right? It's real to them. So succeeding isn't a preference, it's necessary. Whatever goal they have in mind, they just won't stop until they actually achieve it, right? And you see this among high performers and elite athletes because they remind themselves of this every day. They put their why and their goals in front of them, they think about them, and they dream of them. Usually they're very good at visualizing a better life and their dreams coming true and expanding. And I think one of the things is really clear as well is they have the guts to think bigger, and they continuously think bigger. So they might start with something, but that was their frame of reference at a particular point in time, and as they progress along their journey, they realize that they can dream so much bigger, and so they don't hold themselves back. They believe and they demand a lot more of themselves, and striving kind of becomes part of who they are. And the will in which they show up in life, and they just get at it, right? So is that something you're finding as you're going through your transformation, or when you've had success in the past? Let me know in the comments. Number 2, nothing new here. This is something I harp on about all the time, which is consistency, and consistency, right? So people who succeed practice at their art, their skills, routines, ideal ways of thinking and behaving more so than anyone else, right? They do the work more consistently, so they're learning the leverage points, the distinctions, the minute areas, and the +1 and the 1%ers for the entire game that they're playing, right? And yes, of course, these people actually learn to rest, they recover, but they're always in motion, getting better, paying attention, measuring progress. They're not the kind of people who set a New Year's goal, for example, work at it for a week and then quit. All year long, it's visions, goals, focus, practice, work at it, practice, test, get better, practice, improve. And they just keep at it. Like, you'll just see that, even goal setting and reviewing them is just something that they do all the time. And some of that might happen to fall over the new year, and other times it might not. Number 3, they have really good social support. So successful people usually have multiple coaches across different disciplines. And think about it, like even a Michael Jordan, for example, didn't just have a basketball coach. He also had ex-his Tim Gover in his back pocket. If you've ever listened to the book Relentless, it's really good to give you a bit of an insight into just how, having other coaches and mentors and the mindset behind, one of the best basketballers that ever lived, right? And how they help, and how these coaches actually help them be the best. Obviously, leaders and entrepreneurs all have mentors and coaches. You see anyone that is really good at their career or any of those, they always have coaches or mentors. And both elite athletes and high performers also surround themselves with like-minded peers, right? So people they can learn from and gain encouragement from, they're open to new ideas, they actively participate or create communities. And that's why if you're here in this group, and there's 500 of us now, which is amazing, I just only noticed that the other day, then I highly encourage you to reach out and say hi and connect with others in this forum, because there's actually quite an eclectic mix of coaches from all over the world, health professionals, athletes, and fitness enthusiasts in this community, and everyone's at different stages of their journey, which I'm loving. So, feel free to introduce yourselves and let us know what you're doing and where you're at, so that we can all, give you encouragement and ask questions and so on. Number 4, role models. So let me ask you, what's the last great biography you read of someone who inspired you? Who do you follow that fires you up? What strategies are you developing that that you learn from someone ahead of you? How do you role model? How do your role models think? What do they value? What do they insist upon? What do they practice, espouse, work hard for every day? If you don't have any role models, then it could be an issue that your ego's gone out of check here. Or you think that you're alone or superior or different, so you don't look out there for those already crushing it, giving it all, and making a bigger impact, right? And you see that a lot with some people who think they know what they're doing, or they've been doing the gym for a long time, for example, and they think they know it all. Yeah, you do, but then, I've seen some really great bodybuilders who will take advice from other people as well, who would be surprising. I train with a lot of guys as well. Some of them, lifting heavier weights than I could even dream to hope to do, and performing better. But they still take ideas. We still learn from each other and all that sort of stuff, and they're still open to that. And which is great, because there's a lot of guys out there that think that girls don't know anything about bodybuilding. Interesting thought. But anyway, I guess the thing is if you don't have a role model, then for me, I think then you're really missing an opportunity to look outside of yourself, because when we have an opportunity to look outside of ourselves, or look from ourselves from the outside, not just always working from the inside and looking out, it just opens us up to a whole different way of thinking, and you'll probably find things that you already knew but had forgotten by simply, looking outside of yourself. So the other thing to remember as well is that role models are everywhere. They're in your community, and there's some in here. They're on documentaries or online or on social media, or if you're from my era, there's a thing called books, which are really great. So anyway, my point is, get some role models, make it a mission, find them, learn, model, grow, and don't forget to be a role model yourself. I think the best way to actually learn something or to change a behavior is to be really conscious of your leadership shadow, for example. So if you have kids and you want them to develop better health and nutrition habits, then the best way to do that is to teach them by doing, right? And personally for me, secret confession, but the last great biography that I actually watched was actually the J-Lo special, can you believe? But actually it was pretty inspirational. It was an interesting perspective that I would not have gotten otherwise. Obviously, big fan of Arnie. I also read David Goggins' book, or actually listened to it, because it was kind of like a radio podcast thing, which was really insightful and amazing. And I'm constantly, I'm reading different biographies and autobiographies of different people, and sometimes from people who I wouldn't have naturally thought to gravitate towards, but I've been open to it anyway, and just drawn some really interesting ideas from, and some different perspectives on life, which I really like. So the other thing is as well is I constantly draw inspiration from people around me as well. So I've been inspired by a lot of the podcast guests that I've had, my clients, peers, everything. So, I think even my colleagues at work and so on, or some of the managers that I interact with, and just the way they do things, I'm always learning. Number 5, probably the most important one, and the one I probably struggle with a little bit, is urgency, right? So most people who are successful at sports, business, or other areas of life know that, life is beautiful, it's rare, it's special, it's not guaranteed. And yeah, look, I get that part, right? And I do love life and everything that offers, right? But sometimes I get caught in the trap of, yes, but this can wait until tomorrow, or do I really want to pursue this big thing right now, because right now the bed and a bit more snuggling time is looking pretty good. But I guess, yeah, look, when you're really connected with your goals and your values and stuff, and when you really realize that life is short, you kind of get your act together a little bit, right? You start to deeply appreciate your days, and then when you deeply appreciate your days, it shows up in your priorities and your time management. And I guess, I thought I was really bad at this, but then, I got feedback the other day from one of my mentors, was that I was the best at actually protecting time for certain things. And, I make training obviously non-negotiable and build my schedule around that. But in terms of my work deliveries, I was actually really good at keeping and maintaining boundaries and planning my work and sticking to those times. So that was good feedback, because I usually think that I don't do it. Anyway, my point is if you ever find yourself so comfortable that you're no longer prioritizing your personal development, pursuing excellence, or and finding ways to give back, then it's safe to say that you're taking life for granted, right? And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. It's more to highlight that if you want to succeed at something, then learning to appreciate that you even have the opportunity to do that is kind of amazing, right? And that can help focus you and help you make your days count and make you do what matters. So if you're tired of feeling stuck and trying to figure it all out on your own, then remember that no one gets to the next level alone, and investing in a coach or many coaches to help push you, to help you, to guide you, to give you new ways to win is basically going to pay its weight in gold, its dividends, right? So I guess back over to you. Let me know in the comments, which of these 5 factors resonated with you the most. Are there some that you're exceeding in better than others? Are there others that you sort of think that you could probably do some work in? Let me know in the comments. Really like to know your thoughts and whether or not you felt this post was useful. Cheers.